this aphorism is not just wise, it's urgent. Because right now, too many of us are outsourcing the most important human trait, our individuality. We focus on too much what society tells us, rather than what our heart says. Stuff like beauty, how to dress, what men and women should do, how we communicate, have been determined not by us, but by society. It's taking these subjective things into an objective. You see my clothes, nice and professional, right? If I were to take them off and wear PJs, does my message here change? Society would have you believe that I don't know what I'm talking about and that my credibility is to be undermined. In reality, I've been studying, learning, practicing my craft just as you all here have been for the past however many weeks. It's the same everything, same knowledge and skills, but because of my clothes, I'm considered lesser. And for too long, we let this slide and we endorsed it. This barbaric mentality of blindly following society has left countless people devastated. Take the evil institute that is slavery in the Jim Crow era of America. People were enslaved and were treated worse than animals on the basis of their skin color. And up until that point, racism based on skin color had not existed. The majority of people just went along with this ideology as it benefited them. They saw it as a way to cheap out on labor and facilities instead of having to spend extra on one high quality facility. They could cheap out by having small, low quality life facilities and calling it separate but equal. But when in fact it was not. The only reason it ceased was because of activists, critical thinkers, bringing their viewpoints to the public eye. They stood out and fought independently from society. Their values that got many of them mocked, such as Maya Angelou, who wrote Still I Rise, were the same ones that stopped this baseless hatred of African Americans. I bring this up because this still rings true today. Many people don't act in the best interests of others. They see others as a stepping stone in order for their own self-fulfillment. These types of people make up society standards such as beauty, tell young girls that they're ugly and they should buy makeup or clothes to fit in. To be beautiful is to buy our product. It also tells boys that only girls with makeup are beautiful and that you want the most attractive, stunning girl as your partner. Just like my clothes, these superficial things are meaningless. They don't matter in the long run. It's just what society wants you to believe for their own profit. You shouldn't buy into culture like this. Instead, you should build your own. Just as Morrie Schwartz promotes in 2 States with Morrie. He said, and I quote, "Don't buy into the culture, create your own." But what can we do about this manipulative mindset? We could be like those people who fought back and resisted the ideology that blacks were inferior to whites. By critically thinking and determining our own values for ourselves, we can ensure that change will happen because society revolves around people. A toxic society will become depolluted only if we think individually, independently from it. And no longer will we be forced to live in a world where young girls are ashamed for their lack of makeup. No longer will our clothes determine our credibility. No longer will we be forced to communicate in this cookie-cutter way where we are forced to speak continuously that fulfill some sort of pre-established standard rather than speak from our hearts. No longer will women be shamed to taking feminine jobs like baking, beauty, or gardening. No longer will men be shamed to taking masculine jobs like being a mechanic, fighting for a country, or wrestling. But wait, hold on. Wouldn't this just take us in a circular loop of alternating between societal beliefs? That's the thing. Standardized beliefs will cease to exist. With everyone thinking critically, people figure out what they believe and what they value on their own, regardless of what everyone else thinks. Without the pressure to follow the status quo, people will truly be themselves, with their own opinions influenced by their environment, how they were raised, what they experienced. And this stuff varies heavily within the society. Not one person has the same experiences as another person. Just take Mitch for example. In the memoir 2 States of Morrie, Mitch Albom's beliefs as a kid were based on experience rather than societal standards. He believed family relationships were everything, something society at the time shamed in favor of money. He also found that taking risks can be exhilarating, which differs from society saying you shouldn't take risks and have your outcomes guaranteed. he strayed away from the status quo for his own beliefs, the very beliefs that are later strengthened and reinforced by Morrie's lessons. A world in which critical thinking is king, as Morrie encourages, would allow individuals to no longer be copies of one another, but rather the authentic self. If you need more evidence of this, take me as an example. I was a quiet kid, fearful of raising my hand in class, asking dumb questions or saying dumb things, fearing what the class would think. Turns out, everyone else, or mostly everyone else in the class, had the same exact thought as me. Social media's portrayal of that feeling of saying or doing something wrong, or something stupid, from the whole class, turned people away from talking. After I learned that I needed to figure out my values and my beliefs for myself rather than listening to society, this completely changed. I was more open with my peers, teachers, and public speaking in that class became less torturous. Actually was exhilarating. Something I look forward to every single day as part of my responsibility in that class. And without that pressure that society placed on my back, I was able to live freely and express myself. No longer was I forgettable like everyone else, just blending in with the crowd, not talking. I was Victor Cesario. Preaching rainbows and sunshines is easy. A society like that would never be possible, you might say to yourself. But one of the greatest ancient civilizations, the Greeks, would say otherwise. They valued critical thinking and striving away from societal norms. They constantly promoted this as a part of their growing philosophy movements. They idolized it as well in the form of their gods. Athena, for instance, was the goddess of practical thinking, and many people sought her out to gain this ability and gain her wisdom, thus showing the importance of critical thinking. And the cherry on top of all of this is that the ancient Greek Empire lasted 2,500 years before falling. And they didn't fall due to their own faults, no. They fell due to conquest, which was out of their control. They outlived the United States, France, and even the Roman Empire by about 1,000 years. And due to their critical, unique thinking, they contributed a lot to us, like thousands of years later. They contributed math, geometry, and of course philosophy principles that we still use today. And some of the inventions too we use on like a daily basis, such as the alarm clock or the umbrella. Conclusion: you cannot let society or anyone else for that matter choose the big things about your life, like what you value or what you think you about the world. You must determine those for yourself. The consequences of following the herd mentality can be detrimental not only to yourself, but to society and future generations as a whole. Godspeed.